Well, fake and substandard medicine is a concern around the world, not just here in the U.S. So let's talk about some of the efforts both here and globally on how to combat it. I'm joined now by Mike Vigil. He is the former Chief of International Operations for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. So, Mike, we know counterfeit drugs now a multi-billion-dollar global business. The most popular fakes help treat disease, cancer, AIDS, diabetes, and buyers seem to want a cheaper option, and others simply don't know the difference. So what is the answer here?
Here's the problem, Elaine, is that this industry of counterfeit drugs is a $30 billion a year industry. We estimate that there is 1 million people around the globe that die each year, and 250,000 of them are children. So we are working with the World Health Organization to combat this situation on the global stage. We're working with foreign governments to try to get them legislative and regulatory infrastructure. At the same time, we're doing enforcement, and at the same time doing risk management to educate people, because people are buying drugs from these internet pharmacies, and most of those drugs contain heavy metals such as lead, mercury, cadmium, and then even arsenic. So it's a very deadly type of situation for people to order drugs from the internet, and there's at least 35,000 pharmacies online that are selling counterfeit drugs.
So, Mike, we know that some regions of the world just lack access to basic drugs, and the WHO reports Africa accounts for 42% of all fake drugs and medical products. How do you hit the manufacturers of these fake drugs? How do you find them?
Well, the thing is that you can track them through the internet, and then you'd also have to work with the countries where these individuals are located. Many of the counterfeiters in terms of the drug trade are either in China or in India. And right now we also have Mexican cartels that are trafficking in fentanyl, and they sell it as oxycodone, and 2 to 3 milligrams of this fentanyl can kill a normal person. So we are dealing with a world crisis, and we really need to get a handle on this as quickly as possible.
How difficult has it been to identify and actually stop the flow of counterfeit drugs across borders, especially if you have formulas for these fake drugs that keep changing?
Well, the thing is that it's not a problem. You know, we deal with fentanyl, let's say, for example, the analogs. The problem that we have here in the United States is that, you know, the manpower and resources have not kept up with a lot of the smuggling of these counterfeit pills. You take, for example, JFK Airport in New York. There's hundreds of thousands of packages that come in because these counterfeit drugs come in through the U.S. Postal Service, and there's no way that they can search every package that comes into the United States.
We know that last year, you and I spoke about this. Actually, China announced a crackdown on fentanyl targeting manufacturers and traffickers in the country. Are you seeing similar efforts across borders and other countries? Are they all on the same page?
Well, they're on the same page, but the problem is that, you know, they don't have the laws or the regulatory infrastructure, and that includes China. Even though China is now trying to regulate all analogs of fentanyl, you know, we're talking about, you know, tens of thousands of factories that manufacture fentanyl, and China only has maybe about 2,000 regulators, so there's not enough individuals to really deal with that problem. So there's more resources that are going to have to be brought into the fray if we're going to do an adequate job, and this is every country also working with one another, sharing information, hopefully using technology to track the trends in a lot of these drug trafficking organizations that are involved in this huge enterprise.
All right, Mike Vigil, thank you so much for joining us.